down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
All right, Savvy investors out there, man, this is going to be the 100th episode. It's actually a very special episode to my heart. I don't know if you know this, but my life has been upside down. You heard that little sound in the background. That's because we're remodeling Savvy headquarters, the office, the training, the compound, the place where we get it done to learn about how to make money. But my mom just passed, which is really just a bummer because I wouldn't be where I am today because of my mom. The crazy thing is that my mom actually helped and funded my first deal. And a really good friend of mine mentioned that, and you know, I wouldn't be where I am today. And my mom actually was going to be on the 100th episode, but I changed that up, and I met this really rad guy named Matt Brill. Okay. Now, I'm not going to just throw out a 100 episode and it's not going to be cool. All right. Because if it's 100 episodes, it's got to be bomb diggity. And this, we haven't even prepped this. We're about to go straight candor here. But Matt, actually, someone, you're going to hear about it, told him about Rich Dad Poor Dad. And that was almost 10 months ago. So that's July. We're in April. He, 2 months after he read the book, put an offer in, did his first deal. 6 months after he read the book, he put an offer in. 8 months, he closed the deal. And he is just the future of what society is, both entrepreneurial, educated, in the medical field, and just thinking about the future, thinking about what's going on. And so, Matt, I'm just stoked to have you on the episode here.
Well, thanks for the intro. It was an honor to be here.
Yeah, right on. The Savvy Radio Show. So let's just not even play around. Let's get into it. So first of all, let's get this out. You're a radiologist, and so that takes a lot of schooling.
A little bit.
I mean, you have to go to regular college, and then you got medical school. You have residency, so you're almost like a doctor.
So went to 4 years of undergrad, 4 years of medical school. You get your doctorate then, and now there's for radiology specifically, it's 5 years of postgraduate training.
Bullshit. BS. So you're talking 8 years plus 5 is 13 years of education. So, all right. So this is way too much for me. During that process, so that was your goal when you were a child. You knew, like, during your life that you were going to pursue this 13 year of hell? Well,
I knew going into college I was going to be pre-med. I had no idea what that meant or what it was going to mean, but
or radiation.
Yeah, didn't know about radiology at that point.
So radiology, you know, if you guys don't know me, but my wife is a radiation therapist, or was, and she quit. But what do you do? How do you serve people as a radiologist?
So we are kind of the doctors behind the scenes. If you were to show up to the emergency department or something, and you're to get an X-ray, whether you thought you might break a bone. Or if you had or having chest pain, then you might get a chest X-ray, or if you are getting a headache and you get a CT or an MRI, we're the ones that are reading and interpreting those and delivering the information to the doctor taking care of you.
Okay, so the ER doctor is kind of hands-on. You're in the back, behind the scenes. You're an MD too, right? So you're an official doctor. So you went through a cadaver school. I mean, you have the same education as a traditional, say, doctor.
Yep, I'm a DO, doctor of osteopathy, which is pretty similar to an MD. It's just a different school.
Damn.
But it's the same privileges, in terms of working in a hospital.
So you can write a script?
Yep, absolutely.
It's always the question. My wife is in that circle. Can we get a allergy script, for flow days or whatever? It just play it. I would never want to question your license. But so you obviously you have a propensity for pain. How did you get over to real estate? And that's what this is all about. Real estate, and Matt and I, we met at AREA, so you obviously have passion for that. How did this all start? This new train, but you're still going to be a radiologist. Yeah. Okay, cool. So tell me about it.
So I have a younger brother. He's about 5.5 years younger than me, and he is currently playing independent baseball. He's looking for additional streams of income, and he watched a video. Ty, I don't remember his name, but
Sounds familiar. It's like a wholesaler.
no, he's an entrepreneur.
Okay.
He's known for having like a book club that kind of rivals Oprah's.
Cool.
And he offered this kind of class course where you could watch those videos and you give you whatever 60 something steps to be successful. So in starting that process, he read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's like, I'm going to do real estate. And so he, within less than a year, he bought his first property, and he was like, you got to read this book.
Cool. Good for him.
Read the book, started reading more books, and then eventually just jumped in.
So where's he at? Maybe we should interview him.
He lives, well, he's kind of all over the place. The baseball team he plays for is up in Missouri. And he'll be there in about a month, but right now he's doing his training, off-season training for baseball, and he's down in Florida.
All right, right on. So does he have his house in Oklahoma?
No, his house is in Florida. We're from Florida originally.
Okay,
my parents live in Nashville. The house is in Nashville.
Okay, Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
Okay, right on. And so he read this book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, started diving into real estate, but at the same time he's traveling, trying to be a baseball star.
Yep.
And you are coming to Oklahoma to go to OU med school.
Residency.
Oh, okay, so your residency. So you're not here for much longer? Or?
No, I'll finish. I graduate my residency in 3 months, and I do have one more year of.
And you're going to North Carolina?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yep. Okay. So then he just pushed your brother. What's his name?
Aaron.
So Aaron said, Hank Aaron or Hank? No, not Aaron. No. So Aaron, he suggested that you read this book. So you read this book, then what?
So I mean, like most other people, you just kind of get inspired, get interested. I mean, I knew that after reading it, I just kind of took that Kiyosaki series and went more into the quadrant, into the investing.
Yeah, I read them all. I love them.
I did all those. I started reading other real estate books. I read books on accounting. I read books on, just what it would take to run a business.
That's so funny because I was schooling you earlier on accounting.
Yeah.
And you were like holding up. I was like, how does that guy know that? That's awesome.
Well, in Kiyosaki's book, he mentions, the things you got to do first. I mean, you got to know numbers. You got to know accounting. So that was one of the first books I read.
Financial statement is your report card.
Yep.
And I got a podcast come up on that. Anyway, so you read the book, and then so you just kind of blindly just start making offers. And are you going to stay planted in Oklahoma? Or are you going to?
Yep.
So you want to stay here?
Yep.
Okay. So then that's why you started looking in Oklahoma, trying to find properties in Oklahoma. So what property did you find? Your first offer, you got it? Was it that simple, or? I
wouldn't say it was simple, but it did happen to be that way. I started off with just networking with people.
Did you go to the RIA before?
Yes.
Okay, so you kind of fell into it there.
Mm-hmm. I was just kind of cold calling real estate agents. I interviewed a couple bankers, interviewed some property managers, got some
cool
people I just met that were contractors because I want to be as hands off and passive as possible. So.
And you did all this before
making an offer.
So how'd you find out about the RIA? Did you Google it up?
So I found a website from my brother recommended to me, and it has like a forum and
Bigger Pockets.
Bigger Pockets, yeah.
Okay, right on.
And so I listened to all those podcasts, and the big thing that they said was you just got to get involved, meet people, and go to your RIA. I Googled OKC RIA, found a couple, and started going every month.
Cool. It's so cool that it's that simple.
It can be.
I mean, and I wonder why people are not wealthy. It's just like. America, it's a free library card, but only 3% of America own a library card.
I got all my books that I read from the library. I didn't buy one of them.
Even better. Man, you should write a book too. I mean, I love the story, and you're only 30, and just off radio, you're beating yourself up like, man, I wish I would have started 20. But still, you're doing it. I can't wait to see what's up. So you going to RIA, connected with some people. We connected a little bit, and you got a full-time job and residency, right? Is that what you're doing right now?
Yeah, it's
so your life is upside down.
It's pretty busy.
As your residency, do you have to study, take tests, or it's just actually hands-on?
Both.
So you got to do both.
Yep.
So
I took boards last year, so that was a lot of my life was studying for those and. Working hours.
So how do you keep it straight? Did you discipline like, hey, Thursdays is my real estate day, or was it on your mind all the time? You're going to be wealthy as a radiologist, I'm assuming, right? It's an MD job. I mean, MD people are not cheap, they don't work for minimum wage. So I'm assuming that was your aspiration there. Have you wandered between the two? Like, man, you could be a rich real estate investor, an MD. How do you keep that straight? How do you like, what keeps you focused?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty committed to being a physician first and foremost, so I make sure that I do my reading for my job, mostly for patient care first.
Okay.
So I set aside time every day to read that, and then after I accomplish that reading, then I do my business, finance, personal growth reading.
All right, walk me through a day. What time you wake up?
I wake up at 6:30.
Okay.
And get ready to go to work. You got to be at the hospital by 8.
Okay, you work from 8 until, and this is your residency.
Yeah, residency.
And it's like free, right? You get paid as no, you get some little money.
Yeah, we get paid some.
Okay, so you're there from 8 a.m.
8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m.
Okay, that's not too bad.
No, I mean that's part of the reason radiology is
okay.
where I'm at.
So you specifically, because I thought these jokers work 12-hour days.
I mean, it's surgeons. Yeah, you got like surgeons and
ER.
Yeah, they're working longer days.
Okay, so wow, so you strategically pick this field for the flexibility.
Partially for the lifestyle. Yep.
Okay, right on. So you're smarter just before you got all. Well, okay, where did these genes come from? What's your parents like? What do they do?
Both my parents had their masters in their different fields. My mom now, she works in a big hospital corporate setting. My dad doesn't need to work anymore. He used to sell insurance, coaches baseball.
Cool.
So he kind of does like the volunteer type stuff now.
Is that how? So you've always been around since your mom? You've always been around the medical field?
Yep, and education. I mean, my parents pushed education.
Okay, so your dad is into baseball.
Yep.
So your brother and them are kind of cool. They got a conversation going on.
I played back in the day too.
Okay, right on. So you're all athletic. So all of a sudden, left field, ghetto, down and dirty, blue collar real estate. What like picking up a hammer and going to Home Depot? All right, I'm going to be a millionaire. What were they like? How'd they receive your brother, Aaron? And then now it's bled over to you.
Yeah, well, they so he kind of softened the blow for me.
Did they blaze him?
No, they helped him with his first deal.
Okay.
They'll go drive around, look around Nashville at places, but he wasn't. I mean, he doesn't have a W-2 job. I mean, he's
a baseball, yeah,
and he's not making major league money.
I heard they make no money.
Yeah.
I mean, like, just it's like you're in it because you love it.
Peanuts.
Yeah. Peanuts.
So they helped him, but I had been saving up money. I mean, before I even started my residency, I knew I was going to be saving money, but it was kind of more, I'll put the money every month to my 401k and get matched and all that stuff. And I still have money to put aside. And so I was doing that and had enough money for a 25% down payment.
Okay, so let's get into the deal. You said you found it on MLS. You were interviewing realtors, which I think is super savvy. I have a podcast coming out, How Do I Work with Realtors, How I Manage Realtors. People always ask me, how do I find deals? I covered that on a podcast, but I literally have about 7 to 10 realtors that I work with, and I try to share the wealth. So how'd you find this realtor, and did they understand that you were an investor?
Yeah. So I only spoke to realtors that I knew either potentially were investors. I didn't want to really work with a realtor that wasn't an investor because I knew it would be somewhat demanding and not what they were used to and might not be the best fit. So that was kind of one of my criteria.
Right on.
They were used to
realtors. And how'd you find that person? And the cool thing is, I just keeps running my mind. I got to say this. I mean, it outlines this specifically in Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
I mean, build your team. I just did that podcast. I mean, like, and I remember reading that at a young age, and I'm like, these people are professionals. I'm some joker, And of course, you have a little bit different background, but you went out in there and strategically found bankers, found realtors, went to the RIA. I mean, it's just outlined. Why don't people do it? And so, I'm sorry, I had to get that out there. So how'd you find this realtor?
So on a real estate forum, someone had
on BiggerPockets?
Yep, on BiggerPockets.
Forum. City. Okay, yep. Right on.
And
who is it?
His name is Zach Sykes.
Okay, I don't know.
He's not only investments. He is his own investor. He has his own few investment properties. He's mostly a retail, but he has done some investment on his own. So
you found him on a blog. Was he writing on the blog and stuff on the forum?
He was just commenting on someone else's
stuff.
Yep. And
Man, I need to get on bigger podcasts.
yeah, I messaged him and went over to his office a couple times, talked some strategies, talked some what my
And he was
goals were.
cool that you were a rookie.
Yeah.
And he was like, all right, let's do this.
Yep.
So then he started sending you leads, I'm assuming, to your email box.
Yeah, we just did a drip campaign, and I would go through them. I was looking at single.
Like, what do you mean drip campaign? Like you, like proposition people
No,
to
like
sell?
he set up from his website properties that fit my criteria in
Right.
terms of location, in terms
What
of
you
price.
wanted, right?
Yep. And
Condition.
then, it would keep it updated if a new one was added to the market, if it went up in price, if it went down in price, came off the market. So
And
I
it-
just followed that.
And every day they would give you
Every time there was a change, I'd get an email that
smart
says,
realtor. Take note. If you're a realtor, listen to this, or you're an investor. You can set up searches that changes. When it changes at all, it could drop in a price, it could go to pending. It sends you a list.
new on the market.
New on the market, and you can just track it. That's what I used to do. I just track and see where this house is going, and if it goes back on the market, I have data. Even though my realtor should know that, but they're busy with all their deal. But I'm keeping my own data.
Yep.
So okay, so you're watching this go down.
I created my own spreadsheet of my calculator that would tailored me to what I knew was a deal for me. Plugged everything in, kind of did that type of diligence.
So tell me, let's tell me your parameters. Where is this house? What was it? How much was it? What's the cash flow, if you don't mind, and all that jazz.
So I was focusing on Northwest Oklahoma City. I was looking for either to homes that would be ARV of 100,000 in that range, or if they were rent ready to be in that range as well.
So at ARV, what's your, like I usually do a percentage, like 1%, 2%. What'd you want to get on 100, and what type of loan? Did you get all this figured out before?
Yeah. I mean, I knew I had got my pre-approval before I even
Looked.
had picked the houses. That way I knew what my debt service was going to be.
Who'd you go with? What bank?
First Mortgage Company.
Okay. So, okay.
And I knew that they would give me 10 loans. As of now, with the banking limits right now, I knew I get 10 loans, and that they already do investment portfolio lending.
And it's
So that's why I picked
3%. I guess so this is a Fannie Mae loan?
them.
Or they were going to shop it afterward. I mean, they were going to sell the loan. Okay.
But because it's a secondary residence, it was like 4.3, and then I had like the construction loan built into it, which pushed it to 4.5%.
Okay. Ooh, we're already a little advanced with the construction loan on it. All right. So tell me, what was it aimed for? 30 year?
30 year.
Man, I like those loans. All right. So you already got pre-approval. You're watching your email come in. It's like candy. Ooh. So did this house change, or was it new on the market? You pounced on it. Tell me about it.
It had been on the market for a while. I don't remember how many days, but I mean, I really didn't know any better. I knew there was an area that I was content with.
Northwest, like where? Like Expressway?
This one is actually 17th and North Villa, Northwest 17th.
Oh, I know where that's at.
North Villa.
Kind of McKinley area.
I think it's called the Crestwood Edition.
Oh, awesome. I had a duplex over there. Okay.
Yeah, and this is a duplex
right.
right next to a church. And it had been on the market for a while.
Like 21st Street? 17th, I'm sorry.
17th, yeah.
Okay.
It was listed at 99, and they
50
said,
aside?
yeah, and they said it was tenant occupied already, so that they wanted to come to an agreement on a price before we could go inside. So
That's weird.
Yeah.
So it was listed for 100.
Yep.
And it was a new listing. Okay.
And it had been on the market for a little bit.
So
On and off the market.
Okay, so you've been tracking that. And then, so 50 aside in my world, okay. And they said it was rented, and it was?
Yeah, and that they had on the MLS listing, they had said how much it was rented for,
Which
was a lie.
Okay, so that's good. MLS is a lie. No, I'm just kidding. So what was it? What did they say in the ad?
They said it was total grossing $1,200.
600 aside. Okay. Obviously, you got to pay the water bill over there.
Nope.
It's metered separate?
Yeah. Everything,
Dude, I'll buy it.
Everything was metered
I'm
separate.
excited. So 100,000 listed. Make an offer. What do you mean by that? And
So they wanted to agree to a price before they would.
show it.
Yep.
That's bizarre. On that little property.
I didn't even know the difference. So I was just
Okay,
like,
so
yeah.
what'd you offer? So
I spoke to the agent. I was like, we should offer 80% of less, just because I was like, well, and he's like, well,
80,000? Yeah.
he's like, well, that's a little low. Stuff is selling pretty close to. List
I love
price.
those realtors.
So
I love those realtors out there. Well, that's kind of a low number. 80%. I'm like 65, homie. But that's just me, though.
So I was like, all right, you know better than I do.
So you
we
reluctantly said 80.
I offered 90.
Okay. This is why I don't like realtors. They just, okay. But I know you told me the backstory of this later, so I'm kind of excited to hear the rest.
Yeah, so
to get into the door, you got to throw out a fake number of 90. Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
And then in the meantime, we found out that the rents for them were only $800 for both sides combined per month.
400 a side, so they lied.
And one of the sides was rented out to 3 families.
In the one house?
Yeah.
So it was like 200.
It's a 3. Each side's a 3-1.
Nice.
And
this is a big property.
Yeah, it's 2,400 square feet total.
Is it brick?
Partially.
Okay.
First.
So they're collecting $200 per family on the right side, and they got $600 on the left side. Let's just make it for kicks and giggles. Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why they want a disclosure. I mean, that's just bizarre. Was the listing realtor demanding that?
I don't know if it was coming from the realtor or from the seller.
Well, after we get off, I'm gonna look it up. I'll tell you all about it. I'll do the track on it. Okay, so all right, so $90,000 to open the door. You get in the door, you realize that you got to deal with 4 tenants on a 2 duplex. Wow,
it was a pain just to get in the unit. They couldn't get a hold of a tenant to get them out.
Even better, price goes down.
And so first thing we did is got an inspection guy in there.
Smart. What made you do that? A lot of investors cut the corner on the inspection.
I had no idea what I was doing.
So you had it under contract at a 90.
Yep.
So you were willing to buy it at 90 because it cash flowed. Hopefully, roughly what did we say? 1,200 possible. So you still cash flow because your debt service and everything would be at 700. So you were looking at a potential $500 a month cash flow.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Yeah.
So the 90 was a good number because it still made sense.
I thought it was.
No, not in my world, but hey, we're homies. We just met. So I don't want to blast the first one. But it's okay. I mean, it's still a solid, safe. You're a potential doctor. I mean, don't got time to be rehabbing stuff, or we thought, right? So so you get into this. You hire an inspector, which is extremely savvy. Was it a full blown inspection? So you paid $300 something bucks.
It was $230.
So not $230.
Yeah.
And the guy spent 4 hours there going through the whole place.
Yeah, I got like a.
What company was that?
20-page PDF of pictures and everything. I don't remember.
You remember?
Off the top of my head.
All right, if you really want to know who it is, Oklahoma City, text me or we'll find it. We'll keep it. See if you're listening. All right. So you got a 27-page. That was the best $230 you ever spent in your entire life.
It's going to yield me a lot more than that. So.
I know. I can't wait. Keep going.
So I take the inspection report and send it to the GC I had settled on and to the property manager I had settled on, and said, I know they're under rents for this area. How much is it going to be in a rehab to get this up to the type of price point that I want for the tenant?
Okay, let's just pause there. What do you think the rent could have been in that area? I'm thinking $800 a side.
I was at $650 when I put it in my calculator. I was anticipating asking $650.
I mean, but I know that area. It's $800, right? $700.
Right now, it's the way it is now. It's going to be $850.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm excited. All right, so what did the GC say? And that means general contractor if you're a real rookie. But.
So he told me it'll probably be about. I think $24,000 total.
I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was going to be $12,000 per side.
Okay, $24,000 to rehab it. So subtract 90 minus 24.
So I went back to the seller and said, that we got in, didn't know how bad a condition it was.
Here's the inspection.
Gave him the inspection.
Here's my bid.
Yep. And that's a bid with just the contractor looking at the inspection report. He still hasn't even been in the place.
Okay.
Which is another issue.
Cool. We'll get into it. First deal, earn your stripes, pop your cherry, whatever you want to call it. I can't use that word. All right, keep going.
So we tell the seller that it's not going to work at 90. It needs too much work. It's got to be 70 now. And
well, that's still nice because it's 20. That's 94.
So tell them it's 70. We only do a verbal agreement for this one.
On the introduction to get into the door, the 90 was a verbal?
No, the 90 was
written.
I had already had $1,000 in escrow.
Okay. But you can back out because you have inspections.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So verbal was 70.
The verbal was 70, contingent on now I want my contractor in there to give me an official bid because he's like, I could be off
So you hit them. So you slap the seller with 70, but it goes even deeper.
It goes deeper.
Yeah, I know that's weird. Like, I like this approach though. If you're out there listening to this, I like the mythology behind it.
It was an accident.
Yeah, well, I mean, this sounds like a wonderful property. I mean, you know how much it's worth now? I sold a duplex in that area, but it was a 2-bed, one side on each side, for $110 over there. So smaller. So I know it's worth your property after it's all pimped out. It'd be worth like $125, $135,
Yep.
maybe $140. Crestwood is hot. It's right by that school. I know exactly where it's at.
Yep.
Okay.
So we get him to agree to 70, and
To get the guy in there. So it's another. This is the get into the door price.
we're still negotiating.
This is awesome.
And
this is a great
at
story.
first, and they accepted the 90 way too quick.
They were desperate.
They knew it was up.
And you knew how long it was on there for a while, right?
Yeah.
Was it over 100 days?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I figured. All right. So you get in the door, 70. Contractor goes in with the big guns.
Yeah.
And
Get the official bid written out, what needs to be done, labor, costs.
Now, was this seller, did you get a feel from them? Did you do any history on the seller?
Yeah. So
Were they experienced investors?
No, her husband died about a year or two ago, and he had 4 properties in Oklahoma City, and she had held him for a little bit, and she was not ready to get rid of him.
Okay. So good luck. All right. So then what? So the guy goes in.
So he goes in and get the official bid, and it's now going to be $36,000 total.
10 grand more.
10 grand.
So we're down to 70. Are you going to, so what's your mind thinking now?
So now, I put the new numbers in my little spreadsheet and say,
My spreadsheet.
at this point, I still think I'm planning on getting 650 per side. So that's what I'm basing it off of. And
In my world, I knew it was 800. But yeah, that's good. I'd rather be conservative.
yeah. But I mean, it was bad. Like they didn't have like any heating source in the house at all.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
Just
So I found
FYI.
out. We might have mentioned that to them.
that's awesome. Well, and the electric heaters probably. It's dangerous.
No heaters.
But during the wintertime, they had to have something.
I mean, the family that was living there had like their own space heater,
Yeah.
like in the room, and that was it.
Yeah, dangerous. All right, so then what?
So come up with a price, and I was like, it's 57. That's all. Like that's the highest I can go.
So 57 plus 36 is what? 90. Calculator here. 56 plus 36, 92.
93.
93. Okay.
Yeah.
93.
All right. So now I'm like, and they said no, with a couple expletives attached.
Like FU, no. All right. Fine.
So I'm like, all right. I mean,
I've put in an inspection. I mean, you're out, several hours of time,
and
you have 200 something bucks.
Yeah, and I did like a pest inspection too, so there was $100 there. But I mean, to me, I'm walking away from this thing, and
Oh, it's great.
that
I admire you, man.
$300 was worth it to not get stuck in this.
Dude, you learn so much. Plus, you just learned the number one way to negotiate. I mean, I do deals like I think it's almost gangster. I've locked up deals and wait for the inspection and just sent photos and said, this is the deal. I'm going to back out. It's kind of sad. It's been happening to me before. But anyway, So they said, FU,
Yep.
no way, Jose, on a 57 or 6?
57.
57.
Yep.
So then you were like, bummed.
So I walked away, and I was like, all right,
Okay.
I'll go. I started looking at other properties. In the meantime, they're
Were you bummed?
a
A little bit? Something?
Maybe a little bit, but I mean, I'm doing this as investment, so I mean, I don't have emotions. I try to keep my emotions unattached.
Well said.
I'd rather, walk away from a potential good deal than get stuck in a bad one. So, and at this point, they're pissed off. They're trying to take the escrow money.
Okay.
Saying that we.
So this rookie investor gets this realtor. Now he's got to go bat for you.
Yep, and I wasn't worried. He's like,
oh, you're going to get it. Oklahoma doesn't play around with that.
Yep.
So I know that firsthand. So.
In the meantime, they're trying to fight for the escrow money. I'm looking at new properties. 2 weeks later, that they accept.
What was the deal? What'd they say?
They didn't say anything. They just reluctantly will take the offer.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
So this is your first deal.
Yeah.
Dude, you earned some stripes. I mean, that's the best education that you got right there.
It's still going on. I had to, at that point, I didn't realize I was going to need, $36,000, so I had to add the construction loan onto my bank loan.
So yeah, and you're doing a Fannie Mae loan of sorts. So you had to write it up at 57 and then get a second loan.
One loan.
So you wrote it up as 90.
It can't. Well, and they also. So
what was your appraisal?
So the appraisal came back in at $136,000.
Yeah, I was right.
Yeah.
So
they were pretty happy. The bank was happy at that point.
Darn right they were happy. So 137 times 80 is 109. Yeah, you're in it at like 67%. Some awesome number.
Yep.
So anyone would fund you. I would fund you.
But they also made me take an extra 10% on the construction part of the loan in case it went over.
Hey, great! I'll get it.
Which I gladly used the extra money.
I gladly use that for fun money. Okay.
Well,
I love banks.
I mean, it turns out that we ended up hadn't planned on it, put in central heat and air,
which was long-term play.
Yep. So
I mean, you got 5 years minimum without a call.
Yep.
I love those type of properties. I actually do that type of work. I look for those type of properties, and they usually don't call me back for 5 years unless something's wrong with the sewer line. But,
which could be a possibility. But.
All right. So where did you go wrong? Where'd you go right? And this didn't humble you. Like normally people would run away. So now you're still fired up and still going?
Yeah, looking for another one.
Okay. So where'd you go wrong in this? What would you have done differently?
Firstly, I would have been more aggressive with my agent and saying, let's go at 80%. Because I had a little bit of a panic attack when they accepted 90 right away.
Yeah, you thought you did something wrong.
Yeah.
So actually their lying of the rents, which is BS, saved you.
Yeah.
Because you could have lost $1,000 because you probably would have walked away at 90. I mean, no dummy would have done.
Well, the inspection would have bailed me out of the escrow account. But it got me in to where I could negotiate down, so it wasn't...
No, I usually do it the back way. I mean, the technique is a great technique. I haven't used it that way, but I usually get houses under contract knowing that I'm going to reduce that for a concession in the inspection period. I bought a house that had a garage apartment in the back. Couldn't get in. It was a family member. It was wild. They wouldn't let us in. I was like, that's kind of weird. But hey, here's my offer anyway, and contingent on, getting into the unit. When I got in the unit, I took big pictures of big holes, and I said, here's the deal. This is going to cost me $10,000 to refinish this, but I'm nice. I'll meet you halfway. And that $5,000 actually got me no money down on that deal. So, I mean, that's a technique I use all the time. That's when I'm fishing on the MLS. The MLS is just its own little animal. But in your world, I'm doing this day to day, 8 hours a day, grinding it out, looking for deals, So you only got time on the internet and what someone's feeding you.
Yeah, I'm not putting out marketing or anything.
Yeah, so I understand. I thought, man, she should be commended. I mean, you're going to be on fire. I mean, obviously you can't do every deal that way. It's time consuming and you'll get a lot of no's, but I think you're on the right track for sure. So definitely more aggressive realtor. Are you still working with that guy?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
And his commission went from 100 to 56.
Yeah.
If you think about it logically,
yep.
I mean, that's a poor realtor.
Well, that's why you got to treat them right.
But
let them know there's more.
When you said that, 80 is too low, you're asking me to give you an offer before I even see the property.
Yep.
I get that from foreclosures too. We're taking bids. I haven't even been. Well, it's just basic. Are you seeing if I'm serious? Interesting. And you had a proof of funds letter. You were already prepared. All right. So what's the sky's the limit for you? You got school. You got how much longer for school?
I'll finish my residency in 3 months. And then I have another year of fellowship.
We're homies. You going to church? Fellowship? What does that mean?
It's subspecialty training. So now I'm graduating as a radiologist, and then I'm doing another 1 year of subspecialty training just to do bone and joint radiology.
Okay. And that's what's in South Carolina?
Yep.
And then you're planning on coming back?
Wherever I can find a job that I like.
Yeah, that's the difficulty. But I mean, is it rare for your job is there like supply and demand?
Yeah, it's very regional. So
there's more availability, say in upstate New York, than there is in
the Midwest. Is a pretty good market for radiology right now and doctors in general. But my family's still in the Southeast, so I might look around there.
Cool. And you might have a rental property here.
Oh, definitely will.
Yeah. And you got a great management team in place. So do you have a goal of how much you want to cash flow? So what's your cash flow? Well, you're still rehabbing it right now, right? Because you just got
it's finished this week. So this week we start showing it.
So you haven't even. So you have a potential, and then they're listed for $800 a piece, $825,
$850, yeah,
$850, $1,700, and they're metered out.
Yep.
So that's a pure $1,700 on a $100,000 loan.
Yep. Yeah, my loan was for $76.
And so what's your total cash flow? Do you know?
$570. That's after like expenses and
management, taxes, insurance, which is pretty pricey over there in Crestwood. So do you have a goal of how many units you want to buy per year? Especially you're in school now. Is it going to be hard doing your fellowship? Will that be a weird?
It shouldn't be any different than it was this year, which, I mean, it's effort, but
yeah, but you'll keep the consistency of the discipline. Did you listen to the podcast with Elizabeth? And she has like properties all over the place.
Well, when I moved to South Carolina for 1 year, we're trying to get a owner-occupant loan, and I'm already pre-approved for like a no money down, no PMI loan. Just live in it for a year, leave, and rent it out.
Nice. Try to buy a fourplex since you're single.
Yeah.
Do you plan on getting married in between any of this jazz?
Well, I've been with my girlfriend for about 6.5 years now.
So she's probably like, She's from Oklahoma? No,
she's from Florida.
Does she live in Florida now?
No, she lives here. She moved here with me.
Oh, she must be in love with you.
Yeah.
Man, I'm excited. So, okay, back to the original goal. Is there a number, or are you just going to keep going at this tempo as whatever it does, whatever it yields? Or like some guys are like, man, I talked to a kid the other day. He's like, I got to buy 20. I'm like, oh, okay.
I wouldn't say I'm in a rush. Before I started, my goal was to have $500 of cash flow, positive cash flow.
You already got that
per year, and to be
per year.
Yeah,
that's like $50 a month.
No. Acquire two $500 cash flow.
Oh, okay. So 2 units.
That however many units it would
per
take.
Year.
Right.
So that's $100 a month.
No, 500.
Okay, 1,000.
So each per year, I wanted to acquire $500,000 cash flow.
Oh, 500,000.
Or God, I'm saying it wrong. $500 per month, and the cash flow is what I wanted to acquire per year.
Okay, so, of those units. So you want to make $500 extra a month.
And I was planning to do that.
However, I got that.
For 10 years, and then I'd be at $5,000 per month.
Okay.
10 years.
Okay, I got a great book for you. Have you read Creating Wealth by Robert G. Allen?
I have not.
Okay, read that book. It has that formula in there. If you buy 3-bedroom, 2-bath in a sequential order, buy one, hold it, then sell it, take the equity out, pay off this house, and then in 10 years you'll have a net worth of $1 million. So it's a similar. I just took that same approach and just tripled it, doubled it. Mm-hmm. So, but that might be a good guide for you, man. I'm excited for you. You're just getting started. 10 months in the game, full-time job, and saw the value of real estate, and now you're going to buy property all over the country. I mean, think about it. You're definitely going to buy something in South Carolina. I know it. I can tell. Mm-hmm. You might buy one more unit here. We only got a couple more months, right? So you still can. You already have relationships with banks.
I'm trying to.
Yep. And then you may settle in Florida.
Yeah.
What a great story. All from a book.
Yep, lots of books.
Yeah.
Turned out.
I mean, but it all started with Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, Matt, any advice would you give anyone in your position? You are in the medical field. I know you talk to a lot of medical people all day. Do you have anything to say to them or any rookies out there at all? Any advice that you can give them to help them?
I mean, the biggest thing for me that got me to succeed, and not just in this, but everything, is relationships and meeting people that are going to help you and being around like-minded people that are going to help advance you, and networking to where, you could create. I mean, for me, in these past 6 months, it was about creating a system to where I knew I could follow these steps. And then even if I'm not here, I could still acquire property here because I have people and processes that I can trust.
Yeah. I mean, you could be a huge doctor down in Florida with $1 million cash a year and funnel it over here.
That's the goal.
And you know how safe it is here.
Yep.
And how long have you been in Oklahoma?
Almost 4 years now.
Wow. So you know the streets, you know the addresses, and it's a very inexpensive plane ticket.
Yep.
Man, sky's the limit. Man, it's been a pleasure to get to know you, Matt. Is it cool? Can anybody get contact you? I love your business card. Brilliant real estate investor, because your last name is Brill, Brill.
Yep.
Can you throw out your email?
Absolutely.
Is that cool? All right. So it's brilliant, REIS at Gmail. And that's BRILLIANT, brilliant, REIS. Forgot that. So it's real estate investments or whatever at Gmail. If, if he encouraged you in any way, give him a shout, holler back. There's got to be someone out there in the world that has struggled in your way, and you can encourage them. Man, whatever it is, whatever you do, go buy assets, even if you're in medical school. All right.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at SavvyRadioShow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook, and always be buying assets.